Okay, news coming out of Australia is that Paul Kent, the former NRL 360 host and Daily Telegraph columnist, has been sacked by both Fox Sports and the Daily Telegraph. He's lost his jobs. Now, he was suspended since the end of April in regards to the drunken brawl that we obviously covered earlier on this year, but this was the second suspension he had had within 12 months. And this was the latest in a long string of incidents going back to 2022, when there was the on-air spat and the bullying allegations back in May of 2022 made by Anthony Maroon live on air. Both Anthony Maroon and Paul Kent both left the radio station as a result, and Paul Kent refused to apologise for the comments made during that live broadcast. Fast forward to February, Mike Meehall is a fellow journalist. There was an altercation at the KO Sports launch for the NRL season in 2023 in the February. There was an altercation there. And then the domestic violence allegations that surfaced in May last year, which led to his first suspension from NRL 360 and the Daily Telegraph. Now, it went to trial in December. He was found not guilty at trial at the end of last year. We've covered all that. And then ultimately, he's reinstated. And then he is suspended at the end of April this year for the drunken brawl outside the restaurant in the inner west of Sydney. His legal team has pushed for a pause in the legal proceedings, and they cite mental health and treatment for alcohol addiction. And the judge granted that, but he does have to reappear in court later this week. Now, what I've read from the Daily Mail article and what I've read on his Wikipedia page, because that has actually been updated, it does state he's now a former journalist and former rugby league player, is that over the last 2 years, so since the Anthony Maroon spat, colleagues within the Fox Sports umbrella, not just rugby league reporters, but within the Fox Sports organisation, should I say, have been concerned about the amount he drinks and his, basically the ongoing allegations against him, and there has been some internal concerns off the record and on the record about his behaviour, his drinking, and also the company that he keeps, because he's been seen associating with some pretty dodgy characters. There's also been concerns within the journalistic media, newspaper world, from colleagues at the Daily Telegraph and other publications, also about his mental and physical state in regards to potential mental health and alcohol issues. Now, he is a divisive character, and I'm not excusing the incidents that involved Anthony Maroon, the domestic violence allegations, the KO Sports launch altercation, and obviously the pub brawl. I'm not excusing that. Obviously, he was found not guilty of the domestic violence allegations, but a lot of his dirty laundry was aired in court, which became public knowledge. And at the time he was suspended, I raised the question, should he keep his job? Will he lose his job? And again, when he was reinstated and therefore suspended again in April, I raised the question, should he be reinstated? Should he keep his job? Should we wait for the legal process? It appears, though, according to sources, that he was actually sacked a few weeks ago, and it has only been now announced that he will obviously be leaving his roles. But according to anonymous sources that gave information to the Daily Mail, he was sacked several weeks ago. But what is interesting is Fox Sports and the Daily Telegraph and other related publications, such as the Australian, for example, the Sydney Morning Herald, and other sister publications within the Murdoch Media Group, have basically said nothing in regards to the Paul Kent situation. It's rival broadcasters and rival newspapers and magazines and other rival media groups who are owned by the Packers and others who have basically covered this story since his suspension. There's been a basically radio silence from the Murdoch-owned media group that he works for, and so we're waiting for a statement from them in regards to if it's when they sacked him and their actions for doing so. Now, he is a divisive character, as I say. I don't agree with everything he says. I found him entertaining on NRL 360, but I did state last year when he was charged with domestic violence that his demeanour and his presentation, his argumentative nature was more argumentative. What has since also been reported is in confidence and to other journalists, on a personal level, he did raise his own concerns about potentially having CTE from his rugby league days and his boxing days, because he was also an amateur boxer. Now, he stopped playing competitive rugby league in his early 20s. That was 30 years ago. He's now in his early 50s. Yes, he only played the one first grade game, but he did play a fair bit of reserve grade for Parramatta in North Sydney and other clubs at reserve grade level. But he basically packed in competitive rugby league in his early 20s to become a journalist. Yes, he's also had an amateur boxing career. He's also done some charity boxing, and he has raised his own concerns about his own mental health and his issues with alcohol in regards to head injuries. Now, a lot of people don't like Paul Kent, and that's a valid opinion. He is a divisive character, but we shall see what happens, and also we shall see, if the charge of affray, if he's found guilty of that, obviously, and what further legal action he faces there. And also his ongoing battle with alcohol addiction, because a lot of these incidents involve alcohol. And it's been very noticeable over the last 2 years that his demeanour and his presentation on TV, it's very clear that there is issues with his cognitive ability. He's slurring his speech, very aggressive. These are all signs of issues with head trauma. So it's going to be interesting what happens. It looks like James Graham is going to be the permanent replacement on NRL 360, unless they decide to rotate the secondary host. But yeah, it looks very likely that his media career is completely and utterly done. I can't see another publication or TV station or even radio station or website for that matter picking up his services. His Wikipedia entry now says former journalist, so he looks like his career is done. But now we've got to think about the potential of his mental health, his physical health, and his battles with alcohol addiction, because there's more to this than is being publicly released. But apart from the Daily Mail article and the changes to his Wikipedia entry, there's not a lot being published about this. There's almost complete and utter radio silence. Only the Daily Mail is carrying this story that he's sacked. And we'll see what happens going forward in regards to legal cases and what the future holds for Paul Kent. But a lot of people were glad that he is gone. A lot of people felt he should have been sacked last year, regardless of the legal outcome of his trial. And a lot of people felt he was very, very lucky to be reinstated at the beginning of this year. But it only took about 2-3 months, and he was suspended again, and that's his lot. That looks like his journalistic career done. Place your thoughts on the situation in the comments section below. It's going to be a very interesting comment section. This is a very divisive topic. He does have his fans, he does have his critics, but it looks very likely we won't be seeing Paul Kent on our airwaves, on our radio stations, or in print anytime soon. From me for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more content for you guys very, very soon.